Elon Musk is starting to realize that Twitter cannot truly be a free-for-all. I think he realized it over the last few days. I think he realized it as more and more companies are starting to pull out their ads to the point where he's losing $4 million a day. Now, do I think that he can bounce back from it? Yes. You see companies like YouTube, for instance, they have survived many adpocalypse, and I think Twitter will survive an adpocalypse too, especially now with Twitter Blue. But the problem with Twitter Blue is it's not what everybody expected it to be. It seems like free speech is truly costing you $8 since it's going to suppress voices who are not willing to pay $8. But with that, people still, or advertisers still don't like the idea of just a free-for-all, even though that's never what he suggested. A lot of activist groups have successfully pushed back against Twitter to the point where so many advertisers are now pulling out. Now, Elon Musk realizes that he needs to put a set of rules in place. Now, the first thing that he did was the content moderation team, which I think will be good. I think it will allow for fair decisions to be made if it is represented equally across the board, left voices and right voices. But on top of that, you also need a proper terms of service. You need proper rules, and today that's something that Elon Musk actually put in place. He said that Twitter will have rules. He said that Twitter will have a terms of service, and I think we always knew that, but he laid out pretty clearly what we can expect from Twitter and from the rules going forward. He posted this today on his Twitter, and he said Twitter's purpose is to serve the public conversation. Violence, harassment, and other similar types of behavior discourage people from expressing themselves and ultimately diminish the value of global public conversation. Our rules are to ensure all people can participate in the public conversation freely and safely. And he says for safety rules, violence. He says for violence, you may not threaten any violence against an individual or group of people. We also prohibit the glorification of violence. Now, I think that's a step in the right direction and something that people always knew was going to exist. You cannot just go and threaten people in public, so I don't understand why you think you can threaten people on the platform. I think most people understand that, and I also don't think that most people will have a problem with that rule. He also says for violent extremism, you may not threaten or promote terrorism or violent extremism. Again, that's something that most people understand. When it comes to child exploitation, he says that they have zero tolerance for that. When it comes to abuse and harassment, you may not engage in the targeted harassment of someone or incite other people to do so. This includes wishing or hoping that someone experiences physical harm. When it comes to hateful conduct, he said that you may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. Now, this is probably going to be one of the more important ones because I think this is a big reason why so many activist groups have pushed back against Twitter to the point where they actually lost so many advertisers. Many feel like it's no longer going to be a safe space when it comes to racism, when it comes to sexual orientation. But you also have the other side who's always been very against the whole gender debate, so I'm not entirely sure how that one is going to play off. I already saw people in the comment section saying that it's a silly rule where if you misgender someone you get banned, but then you obviously also have the other side pushing back against it. I think that's going to be a decisive rule, but a rule that I definitely agree with. You cannot allow those type of things to happen. You cannot allow for people to be threatened when it comes to the basis of race or sexual orientation or gender identity. I know it's going to be a divisive argument, but I think it's still an important rule, and I also think it's a rule that was probably made in order to appease some of the advertisers, in order to get some of the advertisers back. I think that was a very, very contentious point of argument, point of discussion, and I think without that rule in their policy, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of advertisers coming back, but I also see it being very divisive. So we're gonna have to see how that one plays out. I'm already seeing the public discord in the comment section, and the sexual orientation or gender identity has always been a hot topic on this platform. In fact, I think we recently saw Jordan Peterson being removed from the platform when it comes to gender identity issues. I think there were a few others that was also removed because of it. So we're gonna have to see how that one plays out and also how they actually implement it. But they also have a few other rules. They say perpetrators of violent attacks, we will remove any account maintained by individual perpetrators of terrorism, violent extremism, or mass violent attacks, and may also remove tweets disseminating manifestos or other content produced by perpetrators. Again, I don't think too many people is going to have a problem with that. They say the same when it comes to like self-harm, when it comes to sensitive media including graphics of violence and adult content. I think it goes without saying that those type of things cannot just be shared the way you want to share it. And when it comes to privacy, you may obviously not share other people's private information. That is considered doxing, and I think most people understand why you cannot have that on the platform. I don't think too many people is going to have a problem with that. And when it comes to authenticity, they also say that obviously you're not going to be allowed to just spam the platform and have a lot of platform manipulation. I think that goes without saying. When it comes to civic integrity, you may not use Twitter services for the purpose of manipulating or interfering in elections or other civic processes. This includes posting or sharing of content that may suppress participation or misleading people about when, where, or how to participate in civic processes. Overall, I think these are going to be important sets of rules. I'm not sure how it's going to be received by the wider public. I'm not sure if this is going to help bring advertisers back. I think people on one side of the political aisle, the activists who already went to the Twitter advertisers, are most likely not going to be happy with any type of changes at this point. I think most people have already made up their minds, but I also think when it comes to the other side, the people who are more receptive of Elon Musk, the people who are more in support of Elon Musk, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they receive these set of changes, whether they are willing to support it or not. I think most of the rules are going to be reasonable, but I do think there are a few that might be a point of contention, and it's going to be interesting to see how Elon Musk is going to navigate that and whether it does actually lead to some more positive changes on the platform or not.